Today, September 19th, the mind and the unexpected meet. Mercury in trine with Uranus is the day when messages arrive without warning, and the universe speaks in ways that no one can ignore. We are in the final stretch of our journey through the eclipse corridor. The energy is accumulating for the great solar reset of the 21st. And, in its wisdom, the cosmos offers us one last gift, one final strategic briefing before the main event. Today is not about emotion or about conclusion. It is about information. It is a day of sudden revelations, of downloads of clarity that arrive like a lightning bolt, illuminating our path and showing us the last pieces of the puzzle before the great turn. The alliance that forms in the sky is between Mercury, our logical mind, and Uranus, the higher mind, the planet of awakening and of shock. When these two converse in a harmonious way, as they do today, our ability to receive and understand unexpected messages is amplified. The mental shocks that we may feel are not accidents. They are coded messages sent to prepare us. They are the final clues, the last-minute instructions that the universe delivers to us. What we will do together is learn to decode these messages. We will explore how these flashes of insight manifest, how to recognize them in the coincidences of daily life, and what is the correct posture to receive this information without getting lost in its intensity. What you perceive today is not random. It is the key, the instruction manual for what the solar eclipse will come to transform. Pay attention. The final warning is arriving. Today's energy is born from one of the most electric and mental alliances the sky can offer us. We have Mercury, our logical mind, our voice, in a harmonious trine with Uranus, the higher mind, the planet of shock and revelation. And most importantly, both are in air signs, Mercury in Libra and Uranus in Gemini. When the air element is activated in this way, the energy is not emotional or physical, it is purely mental, a storm of ideas, of sudden connections, and of information that travels at the speed of light. Today's event is an invitation to think outside the box, to receive an update to our mental processing system. Let's understand the two sides of this conversation. On one side, we have Mercury in the diplomatic sign of Libra. Here, our mind is focused on relationships, on partnerships, on the search for balance and justice. Mercury in Libra weighs both sides of an issue, seeks consensus, and its main tool is communication that builds bridges. On the other side, we have Uranus in the communicative and curious sign of Gemini. Uranus is the planet of revolution, but in Gemini, its revolution happens through information. It is the unexpected news, the genius idea that breaks all the rules, the sudden connection that changes our way of thinking. Uranus in Gemini is the archetype of the inventor, the hacker, the mind that sees possibilities where everyone else sees only what is familiar. Today, these two energies form a trine, an alliance of pure synergy. The mind that seeks balance, Mercury in Libra, receives a discharge of radical and innovative information, Uranus in Gemini. And the result is the central metaphor that defines this day. It is a lightning bolt that lights up the dark room. Think of a situation in your life where you feel in the dark, confused, not knowing which path to follow. It could be a problem in a relationship, a crossroads in your career, a personal issue that seems to have no solution. This confusion is the dark room. Today's trine is the bolt of Uranus that suddenly and without warning illuminates this room for an instant. In that instant of light, everything becomes clear. The solution to the problem, the path to follow, the truth of the situation. Everything is revealed with a blinding sharpness. But the magic of this alliance lies in Mercury. The mind does not panic with the shock of the lightning. On the contrary, its Libran ability to see connections and to find balance allows it to immediately understand the message that the light has brought. What could have been just chaos, a random discharge of energy, becomes a coded message. Your mind today has the unique ability to translate the shock of Uranus into an elegant solution, a simple truth, an action plan. That is why today's insights, however sudden they may be, do not feel destructive. They feel like the missing piece, the revelation that finally brings order to the chaos. The clarity of the trine between Mercury and Uranus does not manifest only as a lightning bolt that strikes within our mind. Being an alliance between two communication planets in the element of air, its energy loves to manifest in the world around us through exchanges of information, connections, and events that seem random, but are anything but. The universe today is actively conversing with us. It uses our environment, other people, and even our small mistakes as a whiteboard to deliver its messages to us. Your job is to pay attention, to understand that the world today is a mirror that reflects the answers you have been searching for. The external signs arrive in two main forms, through symbolic coincidences and direct messages. The first sign, and one of the most classic of Uranus's energy, is the symbolic coincidence. It is that unexpected event, often frustrating at first glance, but whose symbolism is so perfect that it becomes impossible to ignore. It is the universe breaking your linear routine to force you to find a clue that was off your path. The most common example is losing something to find an answer. You can't find your house keys, and in the frantic search for them, you open a drawer you haven't opened in years and find an old letter or a document that contains the exact information that was missing to solve your current dilemma. Or you take a wrong turn on the way to work and end up passing by a building or a billboard with a message that seems to have been written directly for you. Do not get irritated by these detours. They are the cosmos's GPS, recalculating your route. Uranus, the master of the unexpected, knows that our logical mind, Mercury, sometimes gets stuck on tracks that are too rigid. The symbolic coincidence is its way of getting us off those tracks and forcing us to look to the side, at a solution or a perspective that our focused mind would never consider. The momentary loss of control is the price to pay for the discovery of a new path. Upon encountering one of these meaningful mistakes today, the question is not, why did this happen to me? But rather, what is this showing me? The second form of manifestation is external messages. Today, the universe uses people as its mail carriers. The alliance between Mercury, communication, and Uranus, the collective mind, creates a kind of synchronization in the network of conversations. Be alert, as the message you need may come from the most unexpected source. It is someone who says exactly what you needed to hear, often without having the slightest idea of the impact of their words. It could be a friend who, in the middle of a trivial conversation, recommends a book or a film whose theme is the solution to your problem. It could be a stranger at the next table having a conversation on the phone, and a single sentence he says seems like a lightning bolt that strikes you and illuminates your entire situation. It could be a song that starts playing on the radio with lyrics that seem to be your biography of the moment. Do not dismiss these manifestations as random. The trine in the air element creates an atmosphere where information flows freely, and the right message always finds the right recipient. Your task is to keep your spiritual ears open. Listen not only to what people tell you directly, but also to what is said around you. The universe is using the world as a large sound system to deliver you the clues you need before the great reset of the eclipse. The answers are in the air. You just need to tune into the frequency. In addition to the messages that arrive through the external world, the alliance between Mercury and Uranus will manifest tomorrow in the most direct way possible, within your own system, in your mind, and in your body. If the external signs are the universe trying to talk to you, the internal signs are the universe talking through you. Today's energy is one of recalibration, as if your nervous system and your thought process were receiving a software update. This update can produce some notable side effects, which are proof that the new programming is being installed. The main internal sign is the sudden insights that feel like downloads. This is the purest manifestation of the trine between Mercury and Uranus. In a moment of quiet, or even in the middle of a completely mundane task, an idea, a solution, or an understanding can arrive in your mind with the speed and the clarity of a lightning bolt. It is not a thought that you build step by step through logic. It is an answer that lands in your consciousness, already whole, complete, and perfect. It could be the solution to a work problem that has been tormenting you for weeks, and that suddenly reveals itself in a genius simplicity. It could be a deep and sudden understanding of the dynamic of a relationship, which changes your entire perspective. It could be an idea for a new creative project that comes out of nowhere but feels incredibly aligned and exciting. These downloads are your logical mind, Mercury, receiving a direct transmission from your higher mind, your genius intuition, Uranus. They are the proof that for an instant you were connected to a much vaster field of information. This overload of mental and energetic information inevitably is reflected in our body. That is why the second set of internal signs are the bodily reactions, namely mental restlessness, mild insomnia, and electrical impulses. You may feel physically restless, with a need to move, to walk around the house, even without knowing why. Your mind may seem electric, full of new ideas and connections at such a speed that it becomes difficult to relax or to concentrate on just one thing. At night, this can manifest as mild insomnia. You may be tired, but your mind simply won't turn off, as if it were processing an immense volume of data. At times, you may even feel small zaps of energy in your body, like a shiver or a sudden electrical impulse. Call this conscious electricity, not a problem. It's the body realigning itself. Do not interpret these signs as negative. They are the evidence that your nervous system is adapting to a higher and faster frequency. The energy of Uranus is electric, and your body is feeling that electricity. The restlessness is not nervousness. It is your body trying to keep up with the pace of your mind, which has just accelerated. The insomnia is not a flaw. It is your mind needing more time to process the downloads it has received. These are the symptoms of an update. And as with any system update, a period of recalibration is perfectly normal. Welcome the electricity. It is the sign that your consciousness is expanding. We now arrive at the most strategic point of our conversation, at the why behind today's energy. The alliance between Mercury and Uranus, with all its signs and insights, is not happening in a vacuum. Its placement on the calendar is no accident. The fact that this discharge of sudden clarity happens just 2 days before the great solar eclipse on Sunday is an act of profound cosmic wisdom and grace. Think of it as a final briefing, a last delivery of crucial information before the great mission. The universe, before subjecting us to a reset as powerful as the one approaching, offers us the instruction manual. Today's transit is that manual. It is here that our guide phrase becomes the most important directive you will hear this week. Understand this with your full attention. What you perceive today will be the key to understanding what the eclipse will cut. Let's dissect this truth. We have already established that the solar eclipse in Virgo on the 21st will be a radical restart in our practical life, in our work, our health, our routines. A reset can be a disorienting and chaotic experience if we do not understand its purpose. We can feel like we are losing things, that our life is being dismantled without our permission. What today's energy offers us is the why. The insights and downloads from Mercury and Uranus are the justification for the cuts that the eclipse will come to make. Let's look at practical examples. If your great insight today is a clear and exciting vision for a new freelance project, do not be surprised if Sunday's eclipse cuts your attachment to your current job, perhaps through a restructuring at the company or a sudden loss of enthusiasm on your part. Today's insight was the key that showed you the door to the future, so that you understand why the door to the past needs to close. If your revelation today is a sudden understanding of what a truly healthy routine means for your body, the eclipse may come to cut your old habits abruptly, perhaps by making them suddenly intolerable to your system. Today's download gave you the map to the promised land, so that you understand why you need to abandon the old territory. What the universe is doing is giving us the answers before the final exam. It is showing us the after before asking us to go through the during. The messages you receive today, however strange or sudden they may seem, are your most vital preparation. They are your strategic advantage. By paying attention to these flashes of genius, you cease to be a passive passenger of the eclipse and become a conscious co-creator. You will not go into Sunday's reset blindly, wondering why things are changing. You will go into it with the clarity of a strategist, knowing exactly what is being dismantled, and more importantly, the new and brilliant purpose for which the space is being created. Today's surprise is, in fact, the preparation for Sunday's clarity. Now that you have the key and understand that today's insights are the instruction manual for Sunday's eclipse, we arrive at the most practical question of all: how to act. What is the correct posture to handle this discharge of sudden and electric information? If the energy is one of shock and surprise, how do we ensure that we use it to our advantage instead of becoming victims of its chaos? The answer lies in a golden rule, a directive that should guide all your actions today. The rule is: record everything. Do not react impulsively. Let's delve into this. The most dangerous trap of the trine between Mercury and Uranus is that of reactivity. The energy of Uranus is exciting, electric. When we receive one of those downloads of genius, our first temptation is to act immediately, to grab the phone and tell everyone, to send the email announcing our new radical decision, to confront the person about whom we have just had a revelation. Today, this impulse is your greatest enemy. The insight from Uranus is like a lightning bolt. It is pure energy, but it is not yet grounded. To act from this state is to act from shock, not from integrated wisdom. And actions born from shock are rarely the wisest. Therefore, your most powerful action today is not an external action, but an internal act of discipline. To record everything. Have your journal, a notebook, or your phone always nearby. When the insight comes, when the genius idea arises, when the symbolic coincidence happens, your one and most sacred task is to record it. Write down the exact phrase that came to your mind. Record an audio describing your revelation with the emotion of the moment. Take a photograph of the sign you saw. The act of recording is what grounds the lightning. It is what takes the ethereal and volatile energy of Uranus and translates it into the structured and concrete language of Mercury. It is what transforms a fleeting epiphany into a datum that can be analyzed later. By doing this, you are honoring the message without becoming a slave to your impulse. You are telling the universe, I have received it. I am paying attention, but I am wise enough to wait for the dust to settle before making a decision. This act of recording is your final preparation. Every note you take today is another piece of the map, another page of the instruction manual. And it is this manual that you will take with you to the main event on Sunday. Always remember this, as it is the synthesis of today's purpose. Today's surprise is the preparation for Sunday's clarity. Your job is not to understand everything now, but to collect the clues. The clarity will come when all the pieces are on the table. Today's journey was an intensive training for our perception. We have learned the language of the unexpected, to read the signs that arrive through coincidences, conversations, and the flashes of insight that illuminate our minds. We understood that today's energy, with its electricity and its surprises, is not random chaos, but a meticulously orchestrated preparation. And most importantly, we have received the golden rule to navigate this day. Record the revelation, but contain the reaction. You now have the instruction manual, the key, the map. You have everything you need to understand what the main event on Sunday will come to transform. Remember the deepest truth of this transit, the reason why this energy arrives with such urgency precisely now. The Mercury-Uranus trine does not happen by chance at this moment. Its proximity to the solar eclipse is an act of supreme cosmic intelligence. It is the cosmos accelerating the download before the cut. Think about this. The universe, knowing that a great reset is approaching on the 21st, offers us today a final opportunity to receive privileged information, to obtain the clarity that will allow us to navigate that transformation, not as victims, but as conscious co-creators. Today's revelations are your preparation. They are your advantage. If you listen, if you record, if you pay attention, you will already be prepared for what is coming. If you have already received one of these flashes today, anchor that action. Like the video, share it with those who need these clues. And write here in the comments a declaration of receipt in the first person. I received the warning. And don't forget to subscribe. Our next meeting will be on the day of the Great Reset. The preparation ends today. The event begins on Sunday. Be ready